Microsoft is giving us an unexpected Xbox accessory. Is Starfield in trouble? And I got an interesting scoop from the creative director of Forza Motorsport. Let's discuss. What's up, guys, and welcome back to Xbox Ready, the YouTube channel that is dedicated to all things Xbox, as you probably could have guessed. I just got back from a lovely week and a half of celebrating my sister's wedding down in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico. Beautiful time from start to finish, but now I'm back in the States and I gotta get to work, guys. I gotta make sure that you are Xbox ready. If y'all been following the channel for a while, you know that typically on Wednesdays, I upload these news videos, these little news updates regarding everything that's going on in the world of Xbox. And for today, I have a lot of really cool stuff to talk about: the Xbox credit card, Starfield's Metacritic score slipping, Xbox dropping a new controller, and my thoughts about the Forza Motorsport preview that I went to at the end of August, plus some highlights with Chris Saki, Turn 10's creative director and the creative director of Forza Motorsport. I also have links below the video if you want to buy any Xbox stuff. But let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Microsoft is giving us an Xbox accessory that honestly I was not expecting. Later this month, Microsoft is launching an Xbox branded credit card that will only be available to a select few testers. You heard me right. This is an Xbox MasterCard issued by Barclays, and when you make purchases with this card, you will be able to use the points generated from your purchases on Xbox games and add-ons. The CVP of Xbox says the Xbox MasterCard will be available exclusively to Xbox insiders in the 50 United States beginning on September 21st, with availability to all Xbox players in the 50 United States coming in 2024. Now, as strange as this is, there are a couple of upsides to this credit card. First of all, there is no annual fee, which is always nice, and this card is separate from Microsoft Rewards, so there's potential that, hey, you earn some points on your Xbox credit card and then you combine them with the points that you got in Microsoft Rewards. You can do some pretty cool stuff, I assume. And looking at the point generation system, it's honestly pretty similar to other credit cards on the market. You get 1 point for every dollar spent. You get 5 points for every dollar spent on eligible items in the Microsoft Store. You get 3 points for every dollar spent on streaming services like Netflix, and the same bonus for every dollar spent on services like Grubhub, Postmates, and other like courier services. Now, I have a Chase Sapphire Preferred, and those kind of point generation systems, it's almost kind of comparable. But unlike my Chase Sapphire Preferred, where I can use my points to buy a variety of things, flights, hotels, renting badass cars. With this Xbox card, according to the CVP of Xbox, you can only use it for games and add-ons, which is incredibly specific. There is a pretty decent intro bonus as well. Your first purchase, you get $50 towards the Microsoft Store, and you get 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate if you don't have Game Pass already. But the hyper-specificity of this is kind of like making me question things. Like, yes, I love Xbox, I love having Xbox stuff. If I were to get the Xbox credit card, it just seems like a financial decision that my wife would just roll her eyes at. I guess if you're really into buying digital games or games through the Microsoft Store, this could be really cool for you. But I'm laughing to myself thinking of a scenario where you're like, don't worry, I got this, guys. You're at dinner or something, or you go to a movie and you whip out the Xbox MasterCard. This video is brought to you by LG Ultra Gear. This absolute unit that you've been seeing behind me in my recent videos is a monitor from LG Ultra Gear. It's specifically the 45GR95QE. It's the world's first 240Hz OLED display with a 0.03 gray to gray response time. It's a 45-inch curved screen with a 21:9 aspect ratio, otherwise known as ultra wide. And when you pair this beauty up with a game like Starfield, the immersion is just off the charts. When I'm piloting my spaceship, I'm really feeling like I am in my own personal spacecraft. And when I take off in my own personal little ship, the display just makes outer space look gorgeous. This is the first OLED that I've ever had, and I was really impressed with the self-lighting pixels and how they were able to make colors pop, especially when I got that HDR just right. It's obviously pretty big as monitors go, but the actual display is really thin. That, combined with the curvature, makes it really fit well on my setup. I was shocked. I still have room for my mouse and keyboard, 2 gaming consoles, this controller tower I have in the back, a couple of candles, a couple of RGB lights. It's great. Overall, I'm super impressed impressed with this thing, and it's making my Starfield experience that much better. Thanks again to LG Ultra Gear for sponsoring this video. Click the link below to check out their monitors today. Now, one of the big things that Xbox has going for itself right now is Starfield. A lot of people are playing Starfield, a lot of people are enjoying it, especially now that the game is officially out as of September 6th. It's been making a lot of buzz, I've been seeing a lot of reels about it, a lot of social media posts. Seems a lot of people enjoy this game. You see, when the review embargo lifted on Starfield, which was like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, the Metacritic score was sitting at around like an 88, 89. It's not the 9 out of 10 that Xbox and maybe fans of Xbox and Bethesda were hoping for, but 88, 89, that's a pretty dang good game. Lots of great games score in that range. But as the weeks have gone on, the Metacritic score has slipped even further. It's gone all the way down to 84. Now, I know you may be sitting there like, Ray, who cares? I don't really go by review scores anyway, I just go by what I enjoy to play, and that is completely valid. But for these studios and these publishers, it means a lot, actually. It's much easier to market a game when it has like a 90 plus score on Metacritic versus when it's like in the 80s range. From a studio perspective, if a game scores really well Metacritic-wise, like 90 and above, it could warrant further investment bonuses for the developers. And while an 84 Metacritic score is not bad, there's no reason to sugarcoat it. It's just probably not what Xbox and Bethesda were hoping for when they shipped this game, when they marketed it as the game of this generation, oh, the first new universe from Bethesda in decades. And as Forbes points out in this article, an 84 Metacritic score on Xbox means this is only the 47th ranked game in terms of its critic score when it comes to Xbox first-party games. So critically, maybe not the reception that Xbox and Bethesda were hoping for. It's definitely kind of surprising, especially with games like Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment scoring higher with the critics. Those games both, I'm pretty sure, got 90 and above. But will that dampen the effect that Starfield has had on Xbox? Since the game has launched, we've seen an uptick in the sales of Xbox Series X and S consoles. We've seen a massive, concurrent player count on Steam. We saw a bunch of people pay $100 for early access for the premium edition of this game. And even if you don't personally like Starfield, you don't like RPGs, you don't like space stuff, there's a lot coming on Xbox's side that I feel like will appeal to a wide market. So I'm personally not worried about it. It seems like a lot of people are still enjoying the game. I'm still enjoying the game. And that's really all that matters, right? Next up, let's talk about a more reasonable, more expected Xbox accessory. Xbox just announced officially that next week they're going to be coming out with the Astral Purple Xbox controller. This is a controller that we talked about previously on the channel. It was leaked by Bilbilkun on Twitter, and I don't know where this account gets its sources from or where it gets its screenshots, but when it comes to controllers specifically, they are pretty much always right. The Astral Purple controller is available for pre-order now, and it's officially going to be available on September 16th. Now, as of this past Monday, I am officially able to talk about this event that I went to at the end of August. On August 25th, before I flew out to Mr. Jimmy Champagne's bachelor party over in Detroit, I got to go to the Peterson Automotive Museum in Los Angeles to go hands-on with the preview build of Forza Motorsport. This new motorsport is a highly anticipated title scheduled to hit Xbox in the month of October, specifically October 10th. I know there's a lot of excitement around this game, so I just wanted to share my thoughts and my highlights from the day. We played on Xbox Series X consoles, and you may have heard this by now, but I can confirm that there are three graphical modes, three visual modes on the Xbox Series X for this game. There's a performance mode that prioritizes 4K resolution at 60 FPS. There's a performance ray tracing mode with variable resolution, 60 FPS, and on-the-track ray tracing. And there's like a maximum visual fidelity mode with 4K resolution, on-track ray tracing at 30 FPS. There was no word on what performance modes were going to be available on the Series S, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But as far as the gameplay experience, we were able to play through some of the first levels of what they are calling the Builder's Cup. And this is a mode that takes you through different tracks, and between each race you are able to upgrade your car in real time. But here is what I will say. Number one, the game looks gorgeous, but that's to be expected. It's very much in line with what we were shown at the June Xbox showcase, and I was particularly impressed with like the ancillary weather kind of stuff that they were throwing in, like, oh, the fog as I'm driving on the track, and then in the background, like the sun is just breaking. It's like that dusk, or what is, I guess it would be more dawn, but those weather effects of the rain, the fog, I thought were really cool and looked awesome. And here's when I realized that I could really get into this game or really enjoy this game. Even though I'm not a racing game expert, I found myself and my body specifically getting into each turn as I was trying to make it. I found myself viscerally getting into each race. And I was like, okay, that feeling to me indicates that even though I don't know a lot about the intricacies of racing games, the way that my body is responding is telling me like, okay, this game is fun and they did a good job with crafting this experience. After I was done with the gameplay preview, I got to sit down one-on-one with Chris Saki, the creative director of Turn 10. I won't include the whole 30-minute conversation in this video. I'm just going to share some of the highlights, but maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll upload the whole thing if people really like it. One of the first things I asked him about was, hey, you know, I'm not really a racing game guy. I'm not really a car guy. What are some things about the new motorsport that you think will appeal to people like me, more casual fans of the genre? What are some things that will stick out to them and make them new fans of the franchise? And overall, what he was telling me, it was like, okay, like his vision for that game, I was feeling that.
The analogy that I used to use, and you'll probably laugh at this, that we used to think of corners as enemies, right? And
I would say, in my experience, that
sometimes right?
those corners are my enemies.
Yeah,
so I would say that's fair. Yeah,
yeah, and it's, what's kind of cool is it pairs really well with real world tracks. They have corner names, right? Like they're actually named every corner, most corners on some of the famous tracks. So people will know, like if you're into some of these tracks, Laguna Seca has the famous corkscrew. It's just, that's the name of the thing, right? Okay. And so in our game, we actually have that sectioned off. So as soon as you enter the corkscrew, it's like, oh, I'm in that corner. I'm in this section of turns, and it comes up and it says corkscrew, and it gives you the timer, and then it shows you, oh, here's how you did, and then you gain XP for it, right? Okay. So at that level, then you're saying, oh, well, now corners are actually named enemies, and you're like, oh man, the corkscrew, that's my boss. That's the, you know, that's the thing that I need to work on that guy, because he's always giving me trouble.
I got him talking a little bit about how he feels releasing Motorsport during a time in the video game industry that is just absolutely packed schedule-wise. And the gist of what he was saying is that he's not worried about it.
And so even if you're not there day one, there's going to be plenty of new stuff that's going to be releasing over time in this next year. New content, new cars, new tracks, all these new events that are happening that, hey, if you went off and stopped playing Forza for a little bit or missed the launch window because you were involved with Starfield, right?
Sure.
Hey, there's going to be plenty of time to come back or check it out at any other time. So the team's not worried about that for sure, because the game's awesome.
I also got Chris's thoughts on the Xbox Series S. I wanted to get his thoughts specifically because at the press event that Xbox had in June, he mentioned that he's played a lot of this new Forza Motorsport on his personal Series S and that it runs really well.
To think that the Series S would have held us back in any way is completely incorrect, right?
Okay.
I mean, we're so good at optimizing. We're so good at making sure that whatever we build in terms of rendering, in terms of our physics, that it can run on a variety and range of platforms, obviously because of PC, right? We wanted to make sure the lower end of PC could really handle a lot of the stuff that we're doing. We did a ton of optimization to make sure it looked great and played great across everything. So yeah, it's unfortunate we've got caught up in this narrative around the S in some way, but I assure you, like I've spent so much time on the Series S. It plays wonderfully. It looks great, and in no way do I believe that the Series S is a lesser version of Motorsport. I mean, it's my preferred way of playing anyway on between the two, just because I love the console. The S console itself is just awesome. It's like this tiny thing that you can take around anywhere. I really love it. So I feel like people will be super happy with the Series S version of this thing. and it's just not a concern of mine at all.
After all that was out of the way, I actually got to talk to Chris a lot about his favorite cars, his favorite tracks in the game. I even got to talk to him about his favorite builds to run in Elden Ring and other games that he likes to play. I won't include all of that stuff because this video is running a little bit long, but if you're interested in hearing the whole video, let me know in the comments because I can definitely upload just like the full thing uncut. But overall, it was an amazing experience. I had a lot of fun at the Automotive Museum. I had a lot of fun playing the preview of Motorsport. Had a lot of fun talking with the guys at Turn 10, including Chris Isaki. So big shout out to the team at Xbox, the team at Turn 10. It was an awesome day. Thank you so much for including me, and I can't wait for this game to release finally in October. Anyways, guys, that's all the news I have for today. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of Xbox Ready, and we'll see you in the next video.